Welcome to Secret Story. After last night, I knew I loved Patrice with all my heart. Completely satisfied, but I was too weak to return her love, so I promised, baby, I will fulfill your fantasies tonight and all weekend. You may not be able to walk Monday morning. We laughed. We showered and had a light breakfast. Patrice left for a day at the hospital, seeing doctors, and I headed off to the office. Though I gave everyone off, there was much to do, and my assistant Marianne was coming in to help us set everything in place to launch our new client on Monday. The day went well, so I left at 2 p.m. and stopped at the gym for a workout and massage. I was home by 4:30 p.m., and Patrice was not there. She is probably still at the salon being primped for tonight's celebration. I went to the bedroom and laid out on the bed the new dress I picked up for Patrice, along with all the accessories. I showered, manscaped my body, as Patrice liked. I pulled out my tux, new Baroque vest, and matching bow tie. It was already tied and would fasten around my neck since I could never tie it right in 100 tries. As I finished with my preparation and had on my silk boxers, I heard Patrice come in and call for me. "Terry, where are you?" "I'm up here." A minute later, Patrice came into the room looking radiant. The salon minions had performed their magic, and she looked like a princess. We had to get ready for our celebration. I would catch up tonight and over the weekend. I looked at her lying in my arms. "I love you, Patty." Her eyes were loving but with an odd look mixed in. Her breath caught in her throat as she responded, "Oh, Terry, I love you so much. I don't deserve you." Her words concerned me. Why did she feel she didn't deserve me? I let it go and kissed her. "We have to dress and go soon." I got out of bed and began to get ready. I was watching Patrice as she watched me. Tonight would be special for us, our partners, and all our employees. The celebration was wonderful. Lots of drinks and laughs. It was a joyous occasion, the first big moment in the firm's future. I was proud of Terry, Ted, Bob, and the staff. They had worked so hard to make this deal happen. Their hard work put the firm in a position to grow fast and become a major player in the MA arena. The money will make all the sacrifices worthwhile. As I watched Terry praising all their good work and surprising them all with bonus checks, my heart was full, and my heart hurt at the same time. Last night I cheated on this wonderful man. How could I have done that? I am a bad woman. We partied late into the night. Everyone had an amazing time. Later, when we were home together, it was the most wonderful night of our lives. As I fell asleep, I looked at the clock, 4:37 a.m. I resolved that I would never cheat on Terry again. Satisfied, I had cleared my mind. I fell asleep holding my man. Our weekend was fun. Monday came, and reality came back into play. We made love one last time as we showered together and then were off to work again. We are committed to not letting our work schedules get in the way of our time and commitment to each other. Work was busy getting everything set for our new client. Ted was the account manager, and we picked a good team to support the client. We had an owner meeting and agreed we needed to hire additional staff. We had our HR consultant build several ads and loaded them on several internet job sites. We had a company meeting to set the stage for what we expect from everyone. It went well, and everyone was excited as they realized our firm's growth. My brothers and I were proud of how far we had come and recognized that our excellent work had been worth it all. Later in the afternoon, we all drove to the BMW dealer. There would be no more 10-year-old cars. In an hour, we were all proudly driving new BMWs, Ted, a blue X7 SUV, Bob, a black X5 SUV, and me, a steel gray X7 SUV. The next few weeks were busy, as I was sure every day would be from now on. We were now a merger and acquisition firm of note. The phone has started to ring. At home, things could not be better. Patrice and I were relaxing now as money would never be an issue for us again. Our evenings were spent cuddling and talking about the future of our family. Patrice went to her book club on Thursdays, and I played poker twice a month on Thursdays. We arrived home about the same time and were in bed shortly after. I noticed that Patrice might get home later than me every week or so, and on those nights, she was more tired. I didn't think anything about it as I thought our life together was almost perfect. I love my life now. All the stress and hard work, sleepless nights, and long work hours Terry and his team had put in, keeping us apart, had paid off as I always knew it would. Our future was set. I had mastered my job. I worked automatically, seeing my doctors every 2 weeks or monthly. I was making a good 6 figures and quarterly production bonuses. Terry was now taking a nice 6-figure salary, so we were banking an excellent monthly income. We had one joint account for our home expenses and the family's future. We each had a personal bank account in which we deposited 10% of our income for personal use. We discussed investments and searched for a good personal financial advisor. Then came the talk about babies. It was something we both wanted, a family of 5 or 6. Now that things were stable, it was time to start to work on our first little one. It had been 2 weeks since that night when I got a text from James. I was hoping he would not contact me again, and I was incredibly happy and didn't want him in my life any longer. I was just walking out of a meeting on Wednesday afternoon when my phone buzzed, and I excused myself and looked at my phone. My heart jumped. It was James, and I wasn't sure if I was happy or sad. James's text: "Patty, it's been a couple of weeks. I am in town tomorrow night if you want to play around." I looked at the text, and mixed emotions swept over me. What was it about this man that created this reaction in me? I began to shake as I thought about 2 weeks ago I didn't answer the text and walked to my car. I sat inside and thought about Terry and what we had. I tried to measure out what I had to gain and what I had to lose. I put the phone on the seat and started to drive home. My mind was reeling when I came to Walmart. I pulled into the parking lot and parked in the back row between 2 trucks. I was tucked away where no one could see me. I lay my seat back. My fingers went to work. My mind was racing with great confusion. I started my car and made the 10-minute drive home. I pulled into an empty garage. Terry was still working hard to close out the biggest deal the firm had ever put together. I was proud of him, but the hours he had been putting in limited our time together, and I missed him so much. Many nights he was worn out when he came home and would fall asleep quickly, so our love life suffered, and I needed that often. I put my things away in the house and went to the bathroom to clean up. I poured a glass of wine to take with me. As I walked up the stairs, my phone buzzed in my hand, and I knew it was James and didn't want to read it. I threw my phone on the bed and went into the bathroom. My phone buzzed again. I looked at it this time. James texts: "Come to me tomorrow night, I need you, and you need me, please, God." What was it about James? It had been years, and I had never thought about James once, so why now? I read the message again, and my body shuddered. I made a fateful decision and texted James. My text: "James, this is not good. I should never see you again. Text me the room number. 5:30, I will have 2 hours only." James text: "Thank God, I need you so bad. Any time with you is like heaven." 5:30, I didn't respond. I knew prolonging this relationship was a major mistake, but how could I resist James? I don't know why. But this had to be the last time. I arrived home, and the house was quiet. It was a little after 9:30 p.m. I had not much dinner, just a sandwich at work, and I was tired. I crested the stairs and walked down the hall. I could see the flickering light from the burning candles and smell the jasmine incense wafting in the air. I stepped through the door, and there she was, my angel. As I walked to the side of the bed, Patrice's eyes leveled on mine, and she smiled. "Hi sailor, it looks like you see something you like." The glow on her face was incredible. The secret for tonight was I took an enhancement pill as I left the office. I use them sparingly and only when I want to make our experience exceptional, as I wanted it to be tonight. I had been working too much, and our time together suffered. I knew it was only temporary, but it mattered, so I wanted tonight to be special. I held still for a minute until we had both stopped. I fell onto the bed, looking at my beautiful wife. Her hair was matted. Patrice rolled to her side and looked at me. She reached out her hand and swept the hair from my face, caressing my cheek. God, I love you so much, Terence. What would I ever do without you? Then a strange smile showed on her face. I wondered what Patrice was thinking. Penny, for your thoughts, I asked. Her look changed, and she was back to me. It was like she was deeply thinking about something, and my question brought her back. Patrice moved over and kissed me softly. I was just thinking of us and how happy I am that you are my husband. I liked that. We lay together, discussing our future, and making babies. We finally went to shower and I was very tired now and needed to sleep. I was asleep in seconds. I lay looking at Terry after telling him I loved him and was happy he was my husband. A wave of guilt raced through me, and I realized I was bad. I had just had some of the best of my life with my husband. And I would be cheating on him again in 24 hours with James. I am sure the changing expression on my face stimulated Terry's question. I lied, covering up the guilt and shame I felt. Nothing could mess up this magical night with my husband, which was perfect. All thoughts of James were gone until the next day. We slept. I stirred as the light filtered through the drapes. We lay together for a good while. Then Terry had to get ready for work. Then Terry dressed in his dapper suit and tie, and I put a matching pocket square in his jacket pocket and sent him off to war. As Terry left, he kissed me. Have fun at the book club. I will be late, home about the time you are. I love you. His words sent a rush of guilt through me. I hugged him, squeezing him tight, told him I loved him, and sent him on his way. It was 8:23 when Terry walked out the door. I had 9 hours until I would be in James's. I was excited and sad at the same time. I was so conflicted. I could not understand how I could feel like I do for Terry, that I knew this was walking on a razor's edge, and one slip, either way, I could cut my life in half. I dressed and got on with my day. I had a spa appointment to get and a facial at 12:30 p.m., so I had a little shopping to do before. I got ready and left, knowing when I came home tonight, I would once again be a cheating wife. My workday was busy as normal. Our client's merger was in full swing, and there were hundreds of things to do to make the merger flawless. We had teams set up handling everything. Ted and I were driving the main parts and interviewing potential candidates. We were a rising firm, and our name was getting real traction. The quality of candidates was remarkably high, making it difficult to cull the list down. It seemed that all of them could be of use, and we just couldn't afford them all. I finally left for home just before 10 p.m. I texted Patty, telling her I was on my way. I started my drive but got no response from her. I pulled into the driveway at about 10:15 p.m., and the house was dark. It didn't look like Patrice was home. Once again, she was late coming home on a book club night. Recently that has been happening more often. They probably got into a good discussion on the book they were reading, and time got away from them. As I walked out of the kitchen to the stairs, I heard the garage door open, so Patty was home. That was a relief, and I still wondered why she didn't respond. That was not like her. Patrice came through the door in a rush. She dropped her bag and purse and ran to the bathroom, chirping as she went by, "Have to pee." I laughed as she scrambled to the powder room by the kitchen. It was funny seeing the pained look on her face. I went up to our bedroom and needed a shower, so I turned on the water and stripped. I stepped into the shower with my head under the hot water raining down on me. It was like a brain massage, washing away the day's stress. I leaned against the wall, letting the steaming hot water soothe me. I was clearing my mind of today's activities when the door opened, and a Patrice stepped in. "I think someone is happy to see me," she teased. "Yes, that is a good idea, you decide." I got home later than I wanted to. It was my fault, I was so mad at myself, and I nearly risked discovery. When I entered the house, I ran to the bathroom, telling Terry I had to pee, but it was not true. I just wanted to break the moment because I was late. How conniving I had become. I was lying to my husband without a thought. I was becoming a bad person and a terrible wife. When I came out, Terry had gone upstairs. I followed him and heard the shower come on, so I decided to surprise Terry and slip into the shower with him. Terry liked to unwind from his day under the pelting water. So, I waited until he had been under the water for a while. I quietly opened the door and stepped in. My guilt level was off the chart. I was ashamed of myself, and I was a horrible cheating wife. Terry deserves a better woman than me, and I was that woman until a month ago. What the hell happened to me? I could not lie to him if he asked, and I would have to tell him. Terry did sense something. Though, because he asked if I was okay. I knew I was not doing a decent job covering my cheating, and I had to be careful. I know that what I needed to do was stop and never see James again. We cuddled and fell asleep, so I escaped detection once again. The next 3 weeks were like the weeks before. I was working hard and long hours, not getting home much before 9:30 every night. I worked Saturdays, so my time with Patrice was limited. I knew it was hard on her, but I assured her that it would be over in 2 more weeks, and it would be well worth all the time we had lost. I would make it up to her 1,000-fold. Our life was as good as ever, but it seemed that every Thursday. Things were different, but I couldn't figure it out. First, Patty was coming home later and wired when she got home. It had something to do with the book club, but I was not in the position to start to dig into anything now. It was not causing a problem, so it had to wait. The next Thursday, I came home at 9 p.m., and Patty was home at about 9:30 p.m. The next week was very intense at work. We were in the last week of preparation for our merger presentation, and I was late every night. Most nights, Patty was in bed asleep when I came home. I didn't get home until 12:30 a.m. the night before the presentation. Patrice was in bed, but as I slipped into the sheets, she rolled to me and held me. She kissed me and said, "Tomorrow is the big day, you will do great, and you will get this business. Our life was changing for the good, and our life will get back to normal." I kissed her. "Yes, it will. I am sorry for being absent from you these last 3 months. It has been necessary, but I still feel bad that I am there for you like I promised when we married. I know it has been hard on you, and I promise that once this deal is completed, our lives will be so much better, and I will be here for you always." I felt Patrice tremble as I spoke. Then a soft sob started but quickly ended. "Are you okay, Patty?" concerned as to why she would be crying. She didn't answer, then rolled over to look at me. "I'm sorry for crying, but I miss you when you are consumed with work at night. Sometimes I feel like you have forgotten me, and I get lonely. I love you so much and want us to be together every minute we can be. Oh no, I could never forget you. I love you more than anything, even more than the firm. You are my whole life, and it would kill me to lose you." We were quiet after that and held each other. I knew that once tomorrow was over and the deal was completed, things would settle back down, and life would be good again. We slept. I let Terry shower and prepare for his special day. He would lead his team through the corporate gauntlet and secure this deal. He was so happy at what they had accomplished and what it meant to all of us. The workers, partners, and spouses. Terry came back into the room dressed in a new dark blue Armani suit, a $200 tie, and shiny shoes. He looked like $1 million. "I love you, Patrice Grace, wish us luck, and I'll see you tonight." We all had great families. We had a great business with wonderful employees and a bright future ahead. Life was once again better than before and back to normalcy. Everything was good. I had just texted Patrice that I was heading home and would celebrate tonight with the love of my life. As I pulled to the exit, I saw her red BMW pull into the Marriott across the street. What was going on? I didn't know it then, but my life was about to make a major change. Welcome to Secret Story. My workday was hard. I could not concentrate. My brain was struggling with my infidelity and what I was going to do about it. It was a double-edged sword. My body craved James, and my heart and mind were devoted to Terence. I knew I could not have it both ways. I had been lucky not to have been discovered so far. I knew I had to end things with James tonight. Terence and the boys are closing a deal today that would put them on the map and financially free us all. The firm was growing, and the money was starting to pour in. After all the years of struggling, we were about to be set for life. And what was I doing, cheating on my husband, who I loved with all my heart? There was not one thing about Terence that I did not love. And now our time could be devoted entirely to each other. We could have babies and build the family we both want. I picked up my phone and sent a text. My text: tonight will be short, just a quick goodbye. I will be there at 7 p.m. Meet me in the bar. A few minutes passed with no response, and then it came. James's text: then don't even come. We are done. No goodbye. It is over. Goodbye. Oh my, James was upset. I considered how to handle this mess that I had allowed to happen. I decided to see James anyway but did not respond to his text or tell him I was coming. It was almost 3:30 p.m. and time for my monthly training Zoom. I was prepared and ready for the next hour to take over my brain. I logged in, and the team was prepared for my words of wisdom. We signed off at 4:30 p.m. I wrote and sent the follow-up email, including 10 talking points from my notes. By the time I finished the email, I had time to work on some proposals before I left. I finished at 6:15 p.m., and I was ready to go. My nerves were on edge, my pussy was wet, causing great indecision. As I was about to leave, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. I answered. It was James who was giving me the room number, and then he just hung up. That messed me up. Here it was, an open invitation. But I had made up my mind that I was going to the book club. Now, I was confused and wondered what I needed to do. Did I need to see James? I did know that if I did go to see James, this night was the last time I would ever see him. I was being polite and saying goodbye to him in person. I prayed he would accept my decision, as he had said he would. I was concerned, though, after our several texts, ending with a rather nasty tone in his last text. I packed up my laptop and cleared my desk. I walked out to the red BMW convertible Terry had bought me for my last birthday. It was my baby. I sat inside and took a deep breath. As I thought, I made a snap decision. I was not going to meet James. It was over, and I just needed to let it go. I pulled out and drove toward home. As I did, I received another text. It was James. James's text: come to me baby, I want you so bad, and I know you want me, like old times. God, James was not playing fair. He knows he can control me. I pulled over and thought about tonight. No, damn it, I was going to the book club, so I drove home. When I arrived home, I washed my face and freshened my makeup. I drank a glass of wine, which strengthened my resolve. I got back in my car and headed to Melissa's house for book club, but after 15 minutes, I found myself turning into the downtown Marriott on Peachtree. What was I thinking? I texted Melissa, telling her I was not coming tonight and that we needed to meet for coffee next week. I parked in the garage. Stepped out of my car, took a deep breath, and put my phone in my bag. I nervously walked through the tunnel into the lobby to the bar. I sat on my usual bar stool, and Bernie, the barman, came to me. "Hi, the usual ma'am. Is your friend coming?" "Yes, thank you for the drink, and no, I am meeting him upstairs after my drink." As I waited for my martini, my breathing grew short, and my nerves were shot. Bernie slipped the drink before me, and I sipped my martini. I thought I was losing it. I had to get this fling over tonight and go home, so I took out my phone and called James. It rang several times, then came, "What the do you want?" James barked. I was taken aback and almost hung up. But the sound of his voice, even as nasty as he was, gripped me. "James, I want to end this right and see you to say goodbye." There was a pause. "Where are you?" James snapped. "In the bar downstairs." "Come down here, please." There was another pause. "No, if you want to see me, come to my room," James demanded gruffly. "James, don't be like this. You knew we had to end this, and you said you were okay with that, so we have to end it today." "Silence, then, come to my room 625. "James, if I come up there, we are not doing anything. It is to say goodbye properly, nothing more." The phone went dead. Damn it, James hung up on me. I finished my martini and signed the tab to James' room. I slipped off the stool and walked to the elevator. I was nervous as a cat. I pressed 6 and took a deep breath. The ride up was swift, and the door opened. I stepped out and walked down the hall to room 625. As I stood at the door, I was afraid to enter James's room. That was not all bad, but it would undoubtedly end my marriage if I let that happen tonight. I would never be able to stand up to James again. I took a deep breath and knocked on the door. I had changed into jeans and a shirt at home, so I was less accessible. I waited. I knocked again. The door opened, and James was standing there. He was smiling. James was playing dirty. I should have expected something like this. It angered me, and I stepped back 2 steps. "I am not coming inside unless you dress. Otherwise, I am leaving, and this is our final goodbye." I took 3 steps before James said, "I'm sorry. I was playing with you. Wait a minute, and I will dress." The door closed, and I stood in the hall waiting. A few minutes passed, and the door opened. James was dressed in jeans and a polo shirt. "Patrice, please come in," James said as he stepped back, opening the door for me. As I stepped in, I said, "James, no touching, understand?" The door closed, and he walked over to the love seat and sat down. I moved the desk chair out across from him and sat. We looked at each other. My heart was pounding in my chest. My mouth was dry, and my hands were trembling. I knew that if James made one move on me, my body wanted that badly, but my heart and mind did not. I was here to end this mess, which I would do. "James, hear me out, then you can say whatever you want. I am slowly destroying my marriage to the man I love and the father of my future babies. I cannot do that, and you do not want to be the man who gets between Terrence and me. He would find a way to make your life a living hell. Not physically, but using every legal tool in his arsenal, he would destroy you, and I cannot allow that to happen. I would lose the 2 men to whom I am closest. So, this is the end of us forever. James, it would be best if you went back to your wife. Love her as hard as you love me. Yes, I know you love me, which is one of the hard parts. I do not love you and never could. I only lust for you. When I am not with you, I have no feelings. I do not miss you. But once I am in your presence, you have this hold on me that I cannot explain. So let us end this like mature adults and say goodbye forever." I stopped and looked at James. He was hurt by my admission that I did not love him and had no real feelings for him other than lust. His face was sad, but some resolve was also showing. James said nothing for several minutes. I was feeling proud of myself. Then, I suddenly realized that I no longer felt James pull on me. I was free of James. And it felt so good. I stood as James spoke, "Please give me a minute." I sat back down and listened to James tell me that he had always loved me since the first time we were together. He had always hoped that someday we could be together and be married. When we reconnected, he thought destiny brought us back together. I felt sorry for James and understood why he was so nasty today. James finished, and I stood. There were tears in my eyes. I knew I would never see James again. James stood, and we came together in the middle of the room. I looked up at him. I kissed him lightly on the lips and moved away back toward the door. As I opened the door, I looked back and said, "James, go home tomorrow and never look back. You have a beautiful life ahead of you. Live it well, as I plan to live mine. Goodbye." I quickly went out the door, running to the elevator as tears began streaming down my cheeks. I wiped them on my sleeves, soaking them. When I looked back down the hall, James had not followed me. Thank God. The elevator stopped in the lobby. As the door opened, I stood straight, took a deep breath, and quickly walked out the front and into the parking garage. I stood by my car as my mind cleared. The last 2 minutes flashed through my head, and a sudden fear gripped me. "Oh God," I gasped. It was just before 7:45 p.m. I was sitting in my chair sipping a glass of Macallan 25-year-old Scotch. This was a bottle of Scotch that I had purchased with money from the very first paycheck I received from our firm. I planned to keep it until we made it. So today, we accomplished that, and each sip tasted especially good but not as sweet as it would have been if my wife were with me and not with her lover. Yes, I knew about Patrice's affair, as long or short as it might have been going on. I knew of the man, Mr. James Conley, Nashville, Tennessee. A married gentleman with 2 tiny babies and a beautiful wife. I knew all this because Trevor, my investigator, is outstanding and gave me a complete dossier on Mr. Conley. There are a few missing pieces to the puzzle that I need to fill in, but I will do that when I talk with Patrice. Of course, the biggest one is how Patrice knows him. Then there are her feelings for him, and most importantly, does she love him? Then, the final but essential question, why? Yes, why in God's name is she having this affair at all? Then, I will have to ask her what she thinks I should do with this information. If you have not already deduced this, I am very pragmatic. I am a thinker and plotter who always works out a plan. That is why I am a goddamn great attorney. Now, as for me, I have to think of many things here. What do I know? Well, I love my wife more than anything in the world. She is my partner, but I do not own her. I respect her or did until today, so my feelings going forward are yet to be seen. Secondly, I want to stay married to Patrice and build a family with her if that is what Patrice wants, and she can commit entirely to those feelings. Thirdly, I want to be able to forgive her for her infidelity and be able to trust her in the future. So, she must be able to practically explain what has happened, how it happened when it has happened, and most importantly, why it has happened. As a practical man, I want to know these answers immediately so we can lay this to rest, buried in a deep grave, or flaunt it out for all to see. Either way, I can move on with my life. Tonight and tomorrow are celebration days. Tonight is for Patrice and me, and tomorrow is for the hardworking firm family. I will not destroy these 2 days and nights, as everyone deserves these rewards for their hard work, tolerance, and love given and received over the 6 years that we have trudged through the legal muck to reach where we are today successfully. So, as I hear the garage door open and close, knowing Patrice has arrived home, I will welcome her with open, loving arms. I will treat her like my queen, wine, dine with her, and then make love to her tonight. I know Patrice. She cannot lie to me, so extracting the truth from her will take a straightforward question. That will all be dealt with in its own time. The mudroom door to the garage opened. Patrice came in, not calling out as usual. I wonder if she thinks I know anything. Trevor told me Patrice may have seen him in the Marriott lobby, but he wasn't sure. I sat quietly, sipping my scotch. My silence added an edge to the moment. After a minute or so, I called out to her. "Patty, I'm in here." I walked in from the garage. The house was quiet. I was unsure what I expected. I had seen Trevor, Terry's investigator, at the Marriott. I don't know why he was there, but he could have been looking for me. That scared me. Did Terrence know about James and my affair? Oh God, please, not. Finally, as I moved into the kitchen, I heard, "Patty, I am in here." My heart leaped. "Hi baby, how did it go? Are we rich?" I yelled as I dropped my bags and swiftly moved to the den. I stopped at the door and leaned on the jamb. Terry was sitting in his chair, still dressed in his business suit, looking regal. He smiled at me, and my confidence increased. I smiled, so maybe he didn't know, and Trevor may not have seen me. "So, are you going to tell me?" I begged. "Come sit and have a nice glass of wine. We only have a few minutes, and Uber will be here. We have a reservation at Petite Violette at 8:30 p.m. I was afraid you were going to be too late. I have been waiting. Where have you been?" I walked in and sat on the love seat. Terry had poured me a glass of wine. I thought it was odd that Terry did not get up and kiss me. He seemed a little distant. I hoped it was because I was so late. Terry pressed me, "So why were you so late?" "Sorry, I had some time after my Zoom call, so I was working on 2 big proposals, and the time got away from me." My God, I had just lied to my husband. What was happening to me? I had never lied to him before, ever. I looked at Terry and saw an odd look on his face. God, he knows that was a lie. Trevor did see me, so what did Terry know? Suddenly, I was overcome with fear and confusion. My face flushed a bright pink, making me hot, and I began to sweat. I had a tough time breathing. Panic almost set in. Terrence said, "Baby, are you okay? Your face looks flushed all of a sudden. Do you feel okay?" I snapped back to the moment and looked at him. Smiling. "Yes, I am okay. I don't know what it was, like a random hot flash or something. I am fine." "So, Terry, how did it go?" "I saw your text." "Good, right?" I played in trying to change the focus. "Well, let's just say that the last 2,000+ days of struggling and fighting to build something we could be proud of are over. We have succeeded. We closed the merger and signed the lead counsel agreement for 3 years, probably for life. We aren't rich yet, but we will surely be." Terry's voice was all business, not full of joy as it should have been. That concerned me. "Oh baby, I am so proud of you, all 3 of you, but you especially for leading the team. I love you so much." I looked in Terry's eyes. And there was no joy. Oh God, I was caught. I was dead, and our marriage was over. Dear God, no. I screamed in my head. What a stupid fool I was. It took everything I had inside me not to fall to the floor, groveling at his feet and begging for Terrence's forgiveness. I knew that time would come, but tonight I had to hold it together, be the strong woman I was, and make it through tonight and tomorrow, as cold as Terrence might be. Then I can tell of my betrayal and cheating over the past 3 months and accept what punishment I am delivered. I pray to God that Terrence will not throw me away. I deserve that, but please, God, do not let that happen. I knew Patrice was confused. And my lack of happiness concerned her. I could see it in her face and actions. A lot was going on in her head. If she had seen Trevor, she would have been trying to figure out why he was there. Was he there about her, and if so, did I know about James and her? I was going to do nothing to ease her concern or fear. I would treat her as I usually would, and after these early moments, I would put on the charm and play the part of the happy husband through tomorrow. We would see what happened. I am sure I will find ways to place doubt in Patrice's head, so she will inevitably have no choice but to tell me everything and beg my forgiveness. I know Patrice will be sweating as her mind goes wild with fear. She will then know, I know, and she will have to deal with it. I will say nothing, and Patrice will have no idea what I will do or when I will do it. Fear will consume her, and she will be compelled to tell me all of it. Uber would be here soon, so I said, "Patty, you should go now and get dressed. I laid out the new dress and things I purchased for you to wear tonight, so hurry off now and change, then return to me even more beautiful." I smiled and stood, pulling her to me. I held her tight and kissed her hard. Patty looked at me with a curious look on her face. I had confused her even more. Good, my act was starting to work, she looked back and smiled. I was really working on her. I poured another splash of Macallan and sat waiting for my beautiful wife. My phone buzzed with a text from Trevor. Trevor's text: "It looks like Mr. Conley has checked out, heading back to Nashville. I have a guy there working on a complete workup of James and his family." My further talk with Bernie was quite interesting. James has only started coming to town the nights he sees Patty. That is odd. It makes me wonder if James has business here or if he comes here only to see Patty and lies to her about being here for business. We will check out his job and everything. It will take a day or two, but we should have it all by Tuesday. My text: "Good job, stay on him. I want to know everything. And I need pictures of him and his family together, his wife and kids, if you can get them, maybe at the park." It was 8:27 p.m. I called up the stairs, "Patrice, the Uber is going to be here in a minute, so hurry, baby, we need to go." I heard a muffled answer, then scrambling, as Patrice came to the top of the stairs. I looked up and gasped. My God, she looked incredible. How did I ever catch this beautiful creature? I could see why James wanted her, but she was mine, and he would learn that soon. Patrice gracefully stepped down each step, one foot in front of the other as if she were modeling for me, showing her long silk-covered legs as they disappeared under the dark blue satin dress. The new spiked heels made her legs look even longer. I took a deep breath as Patrice stepped off the bottom step. Patty smiled, "Trevor, the dress are beautiful, thank you." Patrice was feeling it now. Her trepidations had lessened. So, it was game on. I knew we were in for an incredible night. I picked up the matching black lace shawl I had purchased, wrapped it around her shoulders, opened the front door, and bowed. "Your coach awaits, my queen." Patrice looked at me and smiled. I am sure I am confusing her with my changing mood swings. That is on purpose to keep her off base until later tonight, when she has her first opportunity to confess her affair. I wasn't sure how to take Terence. He was being nice, but the look in his eyes and some of his words confused me. I was not sure if he knew about James or not. Maybe Trevor was at the hotel for another reason or on a personal matter. I was unsure of everything. Then Terence told me he had purchased me new clothes for tonight and that I should change into them. That was sweet, and when I got up to leave, Terry kissed me hard. It was a great kiss, but it confused me even more. I was overwhelmed when I got to our bedroom and saw the beautiful dress, stockings, and Versace stilettos. I welled up tears. How could I have been so selfish and uncaring to cheat on this remarkable man? I choked back the tears and quickly went to wash my face. Oh God, I was so screwed. My beautiful life is over. Tears of sadness rolled down my cheeks. I was lost. I had to make the best of tonight. It may be the last one for us. I cleaned and painted my face, fussed with my hair, putting it up off my neck the way Terry liked it. I heard him call for me, so I quickly slipped on the dress and new stilettos and hurried to the top of the stairs. Standing at the bottom was Terence, looking so handsome. My face showed an evil smile, and Terry moved away with a hurt look. He opened the door and once again confounded me. He bowed, saying, "Your coach awaits my queen." Oh my, who was this man? I was so confused. He was treating me like a queen. With new clothes, a beautiful night out. But how could he be this way if he knows? Or maybe this was my guilt coming through, knowing I didn't deserve any of this. I was a cheating that had betrayed my husband while he was working so hard, building a fantastic future for us. Oh God, have mercy on me. Please help me through this mess I have created. I will be your servant forever. I prayed as I walked down the walkway to Uber's open door. We arrived at the best French restaurant in Atlanta and were welcomed in by the elegant hostess. The maitre d' escorted us back to a private room with a table set for two. It was so elegant. I was taken aback as we entered. There were a dozen long-stem red roses in a beautiful vase on the table and an iced bottle of crystal champagne. Both were my favorites. As the maitre d' seated me, I saw the small velvet box on the plate before me. I looked up at Terence as he sat across the table. My eyes welled up with tears from happiness and sadness, and my heart fluttered and ached at the same time. I quickly became a basket case. I had to pull it together. I could not speak. I just looked at Terence as tears rolled down my cheeks. I looked down away from Terence's gaze, seeing the box again. I felt sick. I didn't deserve any of this. I should be thrown out on the street, not being lavished with a beautiful night out and receiving a gift. I sat looking at the box, then back up to Terence. He had a sweet